Good morning. Good morning. So I would say if you're here, you probably already won or still competing with maybe 50 people left that's actually playing fantasy football today. Either way, welcome. It's week 18. Basically doing a recap here. A show that we're gonna highlight the positives and the negatives and everything else in between. But as you see, I got a full staff today. My buddy Deshaun D. Reed over there and Walter Westmoreland. How y'all doing today?
Feel wonderful, my brother. How about yourself?
I mean, it's cold outside, but I'm good. I'm up. I've been up for a couple hours now. What about you, Wes?
Bro, I'm doing fantastic. We had football last night too. You wake
Mm.
up football. I mean, you go to sleep, there's football. Wake up, there's more football. I'm on here with my guys, so I'm ready to go.
Absolutely, man. Speaking of football, I mean, it was some entertaining games. I didn't see that Chiefs Broncos one being that close, but I mean, so all power to the Chiefs for winning. Um, them boys, I guess they did their thing, but I mean, nevertheless. All right, before we get into our positives, highs and lows, interesting news today. Cam Akers, yeah, that's right. Cam Akers making his season debut. He be limited, but it's just the fact that this man torn his Achilles back in was it July? If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, July, August, July. I think it was like a couple of days later after they unveiled their new jerseys or something like that. And so with Achilles injury, you're out what 8 to 12 months, something like that, and it's what been 5, 6, and he's playing football. They said he looks like excellent. That was the word, excellent. So I mean, Deshaun, me and you, we had Cam Akers like heading into our top 10 this year, and then that happens. That was a major blow. The Rams offense still has been, fantastic, but just adding talent like Cam Akers, who we thought that was going to like take the league by storm this year, add that extra element to their already explosive offense with Cooper Cup, putting up historic numbers is like, what does this do for this team?
No, I mean, dude, I'm with you. I mean, these guys seem to be doing the right things at the right time. It's going heading into the playoffs. Matthew Stafford has been struggling, and I think with the addition of Akers, coming back, I think that limits like the balls inside of this guy's hands. So he's been like turning the ball over like crazy over the past couple of weeks here. And trust me, I know, like I own him in multiple leagues. Thank God I still won that league that I had him in, but we'll get into that like a little bit later. Cam Akers is great. Like you already mentioned, Jamar, like he was heating up at the end of last year. He was like smoking hot, rising up all the top fantasy ranks. Some fantasy experts did have him inside their top 10. So with the addition of Cam Akers, I think that this just solidifies like the strength of the LA Rams.
Absolutely. I kind of agree with you. With like something you got to worry about is that going to throw off Sony Michel? Sony Michel has been that bell cow, I guess, for the last month or so, and you don't want to you don't want to throw him off. And I think I'm going, dang, I hate doing this, but I'm about to go back to the coast. That's probably why we didn't run Marlon Mack this year. 2 years ago, Marlon Mack was he ran for over 1,000 yards. He tore his Achilles. It's funny. He tore his Achilles as well. And when you look at it and you have him and then Jonathan Taylor, it's like, oh, we don't want to throw Jonathan off because they're basically the same back. Yeah, you don't want to throw that rhythm off. But we'll see. Most definitely could be a great asset. Kind of open things up for Matthew Stafford a lot more by having that dual threat, and that can help him in the playoffs as well, man. So let's see how it looks this week and kind of go from there.
No, that's a valid point. Like throwing a rhythm off, right? Henderson was the guy, and then Henderson gets hurt, and then Michelle, took him, a couple months to get familiar with the system, get really like inclined with the offense, and it's been Sony's backfield since. I believe personally, I believe it's still gonna be Sony's backfield, but it's just more so like Akers add that extra element. Akers, can be a dual threat in both the passing and running game, and he's probably a pretty. I think he's a three down back, as in he could pass protect too. So, I guess just having that extra element there, that's man, Rams are loaded, and that one there might just be the icing on the cake.
Oh yeah.
All right, so and just a quick recap of how we did here as far as our fantasy here. So matter of fact, I think I probably need to update this, right, Deshaun? Like how many rings you got now, man?
I got 2 rings, 2 fantasy championships.
Oh,
I got
okay.
one versus like this one guy or whatever. He's pretty good or whatever. His name is Jamar or something like that. So yeah, we went head to head in like the finals. I had to take him down. I was victorious, and I'm very excited about that, especially when you can win against someone against like a caliber of a manager like yourself, sir. So like that one meant a lot to me. One I do want to like sit and talk about here for a second. I gotta give a shout out to my guy, Larry. He's the commissioner of my NFL.com league. First and foremost, I want to say you're lucky. You're very lucky. I had Jamar Chase on my bench, as well as his quarterback. What's the Joe Burrow? Man, like those guys were on fire last week. And if you probably started those guys, you are probably doing a victory dance this week, and they probably lifted you to a fantasy glory. But I had both of those guys on my bench, both of them. I think Burrow had over 30-something points. Jamar Chase had close to 50, and that was just basically just for nothing. But I still want to tip my hat to him. Kudos to you, sir, for taking that victory away from me. I mean, winning your title this year. So.
I felt that. And just a reminder, as for our buddy Walter here, man, he 3 leagues, 3 playoff, 2 finals appearances, 1 championship. Is that accurate, sir?
Yes, sir. Did pretty good. The one I did win, it was so bad. I think I beat that by like 100 points. It was like the game was over before the Monday night game. Like it was so bad. The other ones did fairly well, but I had to go against my boy JT in one of them. And the only reason that I didn't have JT in that league was because I had got disconnected, and on my pick, it picked up Saquon Berkeley instead of Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts. But next year, I'm taking it down to 2 leagues. Hopefully, I can get in one with you guys, and I think I'm gonna keep the other one I've been playing in for years. So, yeah, just so I can kind of like focus on 2 and then enjoy football.
There you go. You can definitely get in with us. And as for me, so 7 leagues, 5 playoff appearances, 4 finals. I got 0 rings right now. I'm hurt. I'm gonna tell you why I'm hurt. I still in one because with ESPN default settings, that's just how it is. It's kind of ugly, but nevertheless, I'm trying to win that one. I like my counterparts here. They got rings. They just flashing it. I feel like Squidward in that meme, just looking out the window at SpongeBob and Patrick running, having fun. And I'm just sitting here ringless. So reason why I'm in this boat, just bad luck on my part. Some of it. I mean, Deshaun, he earned his victory, so I won't. Matter of fact, the main reason I'm about to point out like in the league against Deshaun, I didn't even have that player. But in the other leagues, Antonio Brown, matter of fact, we get into your bus right now. So Deshaun, like last year, has a it's a bus of players that hop on and they never come back. And so Deshaun's bus. So basically, how many participants do you have on this bus this year?
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 participants right now. Now, be mindful. This bus this year was actually tough because COVID happened. A lot of injuries happened, things of that nature, and like some of these guys, I really don't want to put on here, because I probably would draft them not as high as I would, going forward into next year. But hey, man, they're still on my bus. So,
all right. So who's number 1? Who's
on
the bus first?
Saquon Berkeley. Man, Saquon Berkeley, Jesus, Saquon. Look, man, you're built like a Ford truck. You know what I mean? Like they gave you the nickname Saquad for nothing. You have like the physique of a Greek god, or it's just like all of that doesn't cut it up on the football field. Sometimes your best ability is availability. So Saquon, a couple years, man. Look, you're a fantastic guy. Off the field, he even brought a pair of clean Nike Air trainers, but that I'm a sneakerhead. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But He just hasn't been what these guys drafted him for. Shout out to our guy Keelan, man, who continuously drafted this guy ever since he's been inside the league. And, you know, he's like, it just goes to show you why this guy hasn't won a championship just yet. So yeah, man, number one on my list is Saquon Berkeley. Hop aboard, man. Take a front seat.
All right, so we got a quick comment here from Anthony, who's been joining us about every week. Said, "Good morning, guys. Lamb has absolutely killed me in the playoffs. I started that man last night, and he disappointed again."
Same. I mean, I am a CD Lamb lover. Like, I love that guy, man. I think he's a fantastic talent. I think the thing that kind of capped him is when, Michael Gallup. Thank you. Michael Gallup came back from injury. CD had to move back into like the slot. He was playing outside a little bit more, which, you know, kind of opened things up for him, and he got majority of like the targets while Gallup was out. Now, make no mistake about it, Gallup is a fantastic wide receiver, but he's not CD Lamb. But he kind of like hurt his upside when he came back into like the lineup. So,
but remember, Michael Gallup for his ACL. What was it, last game of the game before? So, but I would say this: I think sneaky like return of Blake Jarwin probably didn't help his cause either, because he was getting a lot of red zone targets yesterday too. So that didn't help. But who's number 2 on your list?
Number 2 on my list, Jamar. Ooh, you ain't gonna like this one, man. You ain't gonna like it, man. My guy, your guy, Allen Robinson, man. Allen Robinson. I believe last year he finished somewhere near the top 12, if I'm not mistaken. If he did not crack the top 10, Jamar, he was somewhere between 9 and 12. As far as fantasy wide receivers go, he was the epitome of just the most solid floor of a wide receiver that you can have. You know what you're going to get out of him. But the quarterback turmoil, man, amongst other things, it just seems like the Bears, like your team was in disarray, man. Fantastic wide receiver. But you know, hop aboard Allen Robinson, man. Like I don't want to touch you next year at all until like I see how things are gonna go. The emergence of Darnell Mooney, it just seems like he has become the number one guy in that offense. Don't know why. I know you guys had a couple of quarterbacks to start for you this year, but Allen Robinson hurts me to do so. Hop aboard, buddy.
Dude, that hurts my heart, but I get it, especially how this year has happened. Like Allen Robinson, I mean, we know talent-wise, he's that dude. Right. He is. And this whole Nagy and quarterback carousel in Chicago and all this other stuff, like I'm looking forward to after this game today. So we give him his pink slip, him and Ryan Pace, they can go somewhere, and maybe we might actually have some consistency, some actual, you know, substance to our offense next year, which might actually produce some really good fantasy players. Who knows? But yeah, that hurts. That sucks. I'm a big Allen Robinson fan. I did draft him in our Yahoo league, and of course, I couldn't really use the man at all.
He was legit droppable, bro. And that's crazy to think that Allen Robinson would be in the just sitting up in like the pool like that.
Bro. And I had an emotional tie to Allen Robinson to where it took me maybe 2 weeks later than when I should have dropped him initially, just because I'm like, I was holding out hope and it didn't happen. So.
Jamar, if it makes you feel better, I actually held on to him the entire league. I was like, man, he's going to have that game eventually. Right. Like, he's going to show up eventually. Yeah.
But, I mean, the taper, I mean, make no mistake about it, from last year to this year, it's just been too great of a drop for me, man. So, man. You know, hey, he's on board. At least I got somebody that I actually like that I can talk to back.
Fair enough. All right. Who's number 3 on this list, man?
Number 3 on this list is a wide receiver counterpart. It is Julio Jones, man. Oh, man. Julio. I know a lot of it is, you know, based on the fact that Derrick Henry went out, you know, and, you know, Derrick Henry is basically the wheels to that train. You know what I mean? Ryan Tannehill, who name that you guys will mention, hear me mention like a little bit later. Ryan Tannehill even had off season. The only guy that was basically fantasy relevant still was kind of more so AJ Brown, but then again he was still injured as well for a portion of this season. But Julio Jones, make no mistake about it, all-time great wide receiver. You're cemented in Canton. You don't have to play another down, but you probably won't play another down for any one of my fantasy leagues, man. And for as high as like I've drafted this guy, and years past, it's just I can't. Too injury prone. Has an inability to find the end zone whenever he is inside the game. And AJ Brown, the young stud, is definitely going to cap his upside for years to come, depending on how long he is to play with Tennessee. But Julio Jones, I got a Hall of Famer up on my bus, man, but he's on there as well.
Yeah, you know what? It's starting to make sense now for how bad the Yahoo League was for me, because Julio Jones was drafted by me in that league. But when I drafted him as probably a flex option. He wasn't like my starting wide receiver like Allen Robinson was meant to be. But nevertheless, I have two guys on your bus that I drafted in that Yahoo League. So it's starting to make sense here. And last thing I will point out, so AJ Brown, I think last week he kind of sold me out too. When I played against you, I think 2 catches for 41 yards. That was it. And so somebody went on Twitter and said, mentioned that, basically said in a nutshell that he cost them, his championship. AJ Brown responded, he's like, what? Like we ran the ball, this and that, and we came out with the W. And he basically said, F your fantasy team. Damn. So some players are for fantasy like Austin Eckler, and some people are not like AJ Brown. So I mean, AJ Brown would get his, one way or another, whenever, but he's team oriented first. But either way, man, this Julio Jones one.
He's team oriented, but he's not fantasy team oriented. So
there you go. So all right, who is number 4?
A good guy, a very good guy, and a Hall of Famer as well. Super Bowl winning quarterback as well, man. And this is one of the guys I did not want to put on the list.
Oh, I know
because who he is, man. He's a good guy off the field. As far as I'm concerned, he's Mr. Perfect to these ladies out here, and he's a relationship goals. This is Russell Wilson right now. And it hurts me to put him on this list, Jamar. And like I mentioned, you guys, Walter, I mentioned this. Sometimes it hurts to put these guys on there, but we're going off of overall ADP in which these guys were selected. And Russell Wilson was supposed to put up big numbers this year, man. And the injury, and then he came back, and it just things didn't click for them. And I think that it showed, with their record. When was the last time we saw Seattle have a record like this? Like, you'll look up, you'd be like, no way, that's Seattle, man, with that type of record. Dangerous, man. I really don't know what to say. I'm not even sure if he's going to be up on the team next year. It's a speculation that he wants out, Pete Carroll wants out. So, like, this is going to be something to keep your eyes on during the off season. But for now, Russell Wilson, Sierra's husband, like, you're going to have to take a seat next to me, friend.
Hey, so just like as a quick thing, have you guys noticed that ever since they started breaking up the Legion of Boom and that defense, Seattle's been kind of trickling down? Unfortunately, you see that a lot with these teams when they bring in these young quarterbacks and they have these like well-built teams. You got the offensive line, you got the defense. Well, these guys want huge contracts. I'm about to mention Tom Brady. This is why Tom Brady, I hate Tom Brady. I still hate him, hate his guts. But this is why Tom Brady has his rings. Tom Brady has never been the highest paid quarterback in the league that I can remember.
I mean, that's facts.
Yeah.
And so, they should have gave the ball to Marshawn. We probably have a different story right now.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Nevertheless, so I get you. If Russell's back in Seattle next year, he is absolutely staying on this bus. I think there is going to be a change of scenery, and I guess depending on where he goes, he might get off before it hits like the Never Ever Land or whoever.
Quick question for you, Jamar.
Yeah.
So you want him in? You want him in Chicago?
I mean, I was advocating for it last summer. I was basically on record saying you do what you have to do to get that man.
What about Justin?
That's tough. Like, look, I'm all for my boy Justin.
Hold on. You're that meme right now where the guy's walking with his girl and he's looking back. He's like, hold on. We got Justin sitting right here. Like, hold on, man. I'm supposed to grow.
Oh wow,
he's like, man.
Didn't you even say that, bro?
I'm not gonna cheat on Justin just that quick just yet, man. We just got the guy. I mean, And this was last year before the draft. I'm all the way for Russell. I honestly, I guess it depends who we hire as head coach and GM and whatever they decide to do. I guess it all depends on that. But I mean, if I had Russell Wilson in Chicago, I'm all for it. Maybe Allen Robinson actually get his stock back. Who knows? Maybe he wants to resign with the team too at that point.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think Russell Wilson's fantasy value depends on what his situation ends up before next season. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's number 5?
Number 5, man. And this one, I mean, maybe you guys are gonna disagree. Again, another man. Okay. So wait, let's go ahead and hold that one off for now. I'm gonna mention this guy, and Jamar kind of more so warned me about it in the offseason. I didn't listen. And this is one that you guys are probably gonna say, oh, he shouldn't have been up on the list to begin with in the first place. Running back, Jamar, can you guess who that is? Just quick guess.
Ooh, can I get one on this?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Take a guess.
Christian McCaffrey.
No. Oh, he's later. That was the guy who I was definitely saving for last because I'm quite sure that we're gonna have something to talk about upon him.
I will say.
You warned me about it, Jamar.
I can think about another one too. Dang it. Go ahead, Jamar.
And it's one of those names that you probably wouldn't think like, why would you pick him like that? You know what I mean? He's just one of those guys. Just one guess. Walter, you got one? One, Jamar.
I don't know. No. What? Ezekiel Elliott? I know it's not him.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it?
It was Myles Gaskin, man. It was Myles Gaskin. And I had faith. I legit had faith. I did. Jamar, you and I had a conversation about it, about people who we thought that if we were able to like reach for, who would give you fantasy upside. I thought he was one of those players. And the reason why is because of his heavy usage toward the end of last season. I think from week 7 to like the end of the year, he was a top 10 running back. Usage was very high. He got like 22 touches per game. And he finished the season with like 700 and something rushing yards or somewhere close to it. And I thought he was going to be the bell cow guy going into this season. That did not happen. It didn't even come anywhere close. Shout out to Reap because he mentioned it on one of our Destination Fantasy polls as to one of the guys who you would not want to touch. And I have faith in this guy, myself personally. I know a lot of people did not. But he like I think he is in the hot seat as far as for people who I legit trusted and like can be a potential steal of the draft. So Myles Gaskin, running back for Miami Dolphins. Haven't seen buddy. It really was. It really was. But moving on, man. Walter, you already mentioned it. Christian McCaffrey. I don't know. Last one. I don't know how you guys feel about this one.
Well, he falls under the same thing as Saquon Berkeley. The best ability is availability. Mm-hmm. But the only difference is like Christian McCaffrey had this game, but then at the end of that game, there's some knee swelling or something like that. And this is something that's been happening for the last couple of years. So ever since he got his contract, I've never like drafted him like really high just because I know about the injury history. Mm-hmm. And that's why he's available now. I don't know if you guys heard, but they said the Panthers are listening to trade offers for Christian McCaffrey, which I don't know who wants to take on that contract, but I don't know.
And I mean, the reason why I put him on here, y'all, is because of the simple fact that when you're a guy that has been drafted within the top 3 over the past 3 years, man, like you got to give me something. Like you have to be able to give me something. And I understand like injuries happen in football, the high usage. Maybe it's Carolina's fault for not pairing him up with like another running back like we have saw done in Dallas that made Ezekiel Elliott more efficient, or in Cleveland with like their 1-2 punch, or any other team who is pairing it with like another back so they can preserve the overall usage of like the running backs. Running backs are very, very hard to find. It's a position that you're going to get beat up the most, and why not protect your investment? Christian McCaffrey, for me, I drafted him number 1 inside the Yahoo League, Jamar. Number 1. And that was the reason why I got punished. Not to mention that another guy I drafted Calvin Ridley. Did not, we already know about his situation, but Christian McCaffrey, I won't draft him again. Like seriously, and I'm really mean it. Even if I'm sitting there, maybe with number 9 overall inside the first round, if he's still there, I don't want him because like my thing is I need someone who's going to be able to be out on the field. So Christian McCaffrey, you have not been that guy. Shout out to my boy Brandon Price. He warned me about this. He has said it for like the past couple of years. So Brandon Price, man, smart guy.
Sheesh. So that is a perfect segue into what we got going on next. But just a quick recap: Deshaun's bust, as you see right here, if you're watching, Saquon Berkeley, Allen Robinson, Julio Jones, Danger Russ Wilson, Myles Gaskin, and Christian McCaffrey. Whew. All right, so we gonna talk about draft strategies here in a second, but perfect segue into that is, so we conducted a few polls here from our Facebook group, next season polls. It was great to hear from the people in the group. Some of these answers, kind of, it just basically gives an idea of how people are thinking and whatnot. And so the first one that's kind of related to this bus here, and which is, top player not drafted next season, which is Antonio Brown. And that's just more pending if he ever plays in the NFL again type thing. But it was 55% of the poll that voted for Antonio Brown. Now, in the event that he doesn't play, the next highest player on that list, Christian McCaffrey. So, that I find that fascinating. And so far as, top players going for next season, so by position. So the first quarterback that's getting drafted in 2022 is been basically undecided. There's been, we got 3-way, 4-way ties between Patrick Mahomes and I think Aaron Rodgers, a bunch of people that just, picked other. I saw people like, saying like Joe Burrow or Dak Prescott type deal. Basically, they will wait it out and have them instead of going one of the elite guys.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
So yeah, so quarterback is up in the air. I get it because it's just based on how you pick your team.
Let me ask y'all this while we still up on the topic. Just real quick, Jamar. Right now, you about to pick your first quarterback off the board. If you can have any quarterback right now in fantasy football, who would it be? And I mean, and I mean this in like just say that this season is like over. Yeah. And you're drafting from next year. Who would it be? Because I only got one guy in my mind. Just one, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not Ben Roethlisberger.
No, it's not, man. No, it is not.
I'm trying to think of somebody because I got two.
I got two on the brain. Okay. One is from recency bias. The other one probably just been doing me so well the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. I got one in one hand, which is Josh Allen. The other one is Joe Burrow. Those two are sticking out to me like a sore thumb.
Okay, Walter.
What about Justin Herbert?
I like him. I do, but the inconsistency, from week to week, because it's like I would even go as far as to speak on like one of my cousin's fantasy teams because he was loaded. He should have won the NFL.com league. Make no mistake about it. One of the reasons why he lost is because of Justin Herbert's inconsistency. One game he'll put up 30 something points. The next game he'll give you 15 or something like that.
That had to have been the game against Houston.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the reason why I beat him. And I'm going into this like, man, they about to light them up. They are about to light them up, but they couldn't even put up big points against Houston. You know what I mean? And, I just happened to beat him that week. His team was far more superior. Like, I'm not going to lie. Much better than mine. But the inconsistency that just the Chargers show overall, like the most consistent player is probably Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler whenever he's healthy. But I think just Herbert is a fantastic quarterback. He will be for the next couple of years. But once he gains that consistency, I think, and again, it's going to be a wrap. But go ahead, Walter. Go ahead.
Well, I went ahead and pulled up his stats, and he had some stinkers this year. Yeah. Washington, Dallas. Those are teams. Say 3, 4, 5. So he had 6 games where it was like, but then you got 10 where he's 20 plus. So I think the only reason I say Justin Herbert, and I want to put him in that same category, because I would say Joe Burrow based on weapons. That kind of goes into my draft strategy. We'll get to that in a second. Just based on weapons, but he's going to get better. So
I think if they can get a real tight end, that probably would help him out a lot. Because I know, on the outside, looking at Keenan Allen, the deep ball to Mike Williams or Guyton or whoever, Austin Eckler is excellent. But if you have that tight end like how Mahomes has Kelsey, Lamar has Mark. So I'm just saying, like, he has that tight end. I think that'll do it.
No, so I guess we're all up on the same page. The one quarterback that just come to my mind with no hesitation is Josh Allen. Consistency, as far as not actual NFL play, but his ability to use his legs, I think, is what separates him from other quarterbacks, in my opinion. And like the next person would be Joe Burrow. Jamar, you hit the nail right on the head. Same with you, Walter. You mentioned Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be fantastic. Weapons wise, it's you just look up from top to bottom up on that team as far as offense, and it's like, man, like how can anyone stop him?
Like Joe Burrow, like in the last 2 to 3 weeks, has instantly went from fringe QB1 for next year to
a lock.
Yeah. So, without a doubt, top 10.
Real quick, so what do you guys call a bad game in fantasy? Is it below 20 for a quarterback?
It depends upon the matchup. I'm not gonna knock a quarterback who has like a tough, like game ahead of him. Like, let's just say that he's playing an elite defense that has been elite, and it's like, okay, you got to temper your expectations here. But when you are cast with the matchup and which you're supposed, I like a quarterback who do what they're supposed to do. You got a good matchup, knock that team out. If you got an okay matchup, it just depends upon the matchup.
Josh Allen has 6 games as well, just like Justin Herbert under 20 points. So, and he also had a 9-pointer against Jacksonville.
Yeah, that one. Oh, trust me, I remember.
That was the biggest head scratcher of the whole season by far. Buffalo losing to Jacksonville and being that garbage.
Now, go ahead, Jamar. You were gonna say something. So,
I'm gonna comment on both of your comments here. For you, Deshaun. So, as far as quarterbacks and like points, I think 20 is you want at least 20 for the elite guys, for the elite quarterbacks. Yeah, you temper expectations, but if I'm drafting you as an elite, like top 3 to 5 quarterback, like I still expect you to be as close to 20 as possible. If not 20, 18 is your floor for me in those. Otherwise, I need you to be 20 plus, getting me close to 30 sometimes. And as far as Josh Allen, I think with him, it's the fact that his floor is so high that once he gets rid of those like head scratching interceptions that he throws, I think he will be like as far as a elite consistent quarterback you would see in a long time. And that kind of reminds me of when I went against Deshaun last week. Dude, Josh Allen was on pace for at least 30 points. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, and then all of a sudden, I look up and he got 3 picks. I'm sitting here like, what are you doing against the Falcons at home? That's so you basically got the tale of 2 worlds in that one game. Him being excellent at what he does with his legs, but then on the flip side, throwing them head scratching interceptions. So
just a last little thing on Josh Allen. We set the bar at 20. Well, he's had 3 games where he's had 20, and one was against Atlanta, Carolina, and the Jets. None of those teams are intimidating. Like, nobody's really game planning crazy for those teams. So he has those games as well. I think he has the inconsistency the same as we say with Herbert. I kind of put him equally.
I think it's because the one thing I will say that I might give him a slight edge over Herbert is because he has a higher floor per game.
Yeah,
because of his running ability.
So I'm looking into it, and I don't mean to spend too much time on it, but this is a pretty good debate that we got going on. So no, he's right. Walter,
I'm looking up. I'm joking.
So I'm looking up Justin Herbert right now, and his average points per game is 22.96, which is pretty good. So he finished this season. If we were to stop at this week, he would be fantasy's number 2 quarterback.
Woo.
Fantasy's number 2 quarterback. That's pretty damn good. But it's only one fantasy quarterback who outdone him this year. That's Josh Allen.
Out of all quarterbacks,
and that's Josh Allen. So it's. And I think Josh Allen finishes like a top 3 over the past 3 years or something like that, as far as quarterbacks go. So it's not more so the consistency as far as like games go. And I didn't even notice that about Justin Herbert. So I retract my statement, Walter. I mean, I feel pretty good about him going into next year then. And I think he does have better weapons than what's the name right now. And I think Jamar, that's the reason why you saw so many turnovers. They had so many injuries to like some of their guys. Dawson Knox has been out. Like their next best guy other than Stephon Diggs is, who? Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis, So I think that's the reason why, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would absolutely take the Chargers skill position players over the Bills.
For sure. Yeah. But to know that Josh Allen is possibly a rushing touchdown damn near every game is that's the reason why I'm putting him, talent-wise, I think they're one and the same. You know what I mean? But his, floor is, like you mentioned, Jamar, slightly a bit higher because of his rushing ability.
So with the poll being undecided is like, I get it. I do. So we'll see how the offseason happens as when we get to the summer. It probably
Great debate, man. Great debate.
That was good. I like that.
All right. So as far as running backs, first running back drafted in 2022, based on the poll here, is Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, that one should have been a no-brainer, man. It goes without saying. The Indianapolis Colts boasts one of the best, offensive lines in the National Football League. Look, Jonathan Taylor has been a monster, man. And it's like, we warned you. Me and Jamar, last year, we warned you about this guy. And I was unfortunately unable to draft him in any league this year, any league. And I think that's the one thing that's haunting me till this day. I had a chance to draft him in multiple leagues, and I passed that with, Dalvin Cook. Won't happen again, Walter. It will not happen.
Appreciate it, brother.
Now, Walter, I did draft him in 2 leagues. One was in that same Yahoo league that I had Allen Robinson and Julio Jones. So
look at him down there, man.
but I did draft him in a dynasty league. So I got him for years to come. Him and Cam Akers and Justin Jefferson. So it's okay. I didn't make the playoffs now, but I feel like my team next year is gonna be a lot better. So yeah. So there, Jonathan Taylor was first by 53%. Derrick Henry was next in line. Then you got Alvin Kamara, and then somebody mentioned Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, but I'll deal with that individual later.
Aaron Jones and
I can see Aaron Jones. AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon's a backup.
This dude was a diehard Packers fan.
So, I get it.
Okay.
The Aaron Jones one is more understandable, but AJ Dillon. But anyway, so yeah, basically it comes down to the Taylor then Henry type thing. So you probably see them go 1-2 next year for sure as far as running backs. Now, the wide receiver one, this has been the most interesting one. So here we go. First wide receiver drafted in 2022. We got a dead tie between Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase, 40%.
Wow.
And then right behind him was Devonte Adams. Nobody else received any votes. So those 3 wide receivers, you might see go 1, 2, 3 off the board.
I want to mention something. I think I drafted Cooper Kupp in the Dynasty League. So I'm pretty, happy about that. The things that he has done this year has been I don't think I've seen it since, Antonio Brown's monster season that he had with Pittsburgh. It's I'm glad that I got a chance to see this, especially from a guy of this caliber. He's a little guy, man, and he plays big, man, sure-handed. He probably won't win Offensive Player of the Year, unfortunately. I think they're probably going to give that honor to Jonathan Taylor, but Cooper Kupp, man, I wish we could give this guy something.
I mean, he's 6'2", 194. So he just looked small, but I mean at 6'2", like
well, I mean not small inside as like height. I mean like weight. Like how much does he weigh? Do you know?
194.
194. So he's a tiny guy as far as it comes to like weight, but it's like he plays much bigger than what I didn't even know he was 6'2", to be completely honest.
I didn't either. I thought he was gonna be like 5'11",
5'11" for sure. But no, he's been fantastic, and I just want to make sure that he get the proper due.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor is probably going to get it. Make no mistake about it. But it's definitely going to be one of those two guys for me. Jamar Chase, Jesus Christ, y'all. My God. All from the dropping inside of the preseason to turning it around like how this guy has done it. And since basically, what's the guy who does the gritty? What's his name? Justin Jefferson. Basically, and it's like, Jesus, is the wide receiver position is in good hands, fellas. Yeah. Like it really is. And it just goes to show you how open, like you can basically wait for a wide receiver. You don't have to snatch one of these top guys up. It's still going to be some fantastic value a little bit later in the draft. But landing one of those guys along with Devonte Adams that's a very good company to start your fantasy roster.
It's crazy. I have both of them. The one thing I want to say about this is like Cooper Kupp is that Honda Accord. Cooper Kupp is consistent. Like Jamar Chase, love the name, I know Jamar, but Jamar Chase is like, we talk about that boom or bust, like with the quarterback. So you've had some games where it's like, where is Jamar Chase? But you're always going to have Cooper Kupp. Like, yeah, Cooper Kupp is that Honda Accord. Jamar Chase is that Ferrari. Crappy gas mileage. That's that not showing up. But yeah, I'll roll with Cooper Kupp.
But when that Ferrari pulls up to an event like Bruce Wayne, like you gonna see it.
Make no mistake about it, man. As soon as he start revving that engine, he's gonna attract some names, man. Because
when you pull up to that gas station, though, you don't want to fill it
up. I mean, just last two games against the Ravens, 7 catches, 125 yards. Like that's solid. Last game against Kansas City, I think basically like he just. Bro, 11 catches, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Like, I haven't seen like explosions out of this since number 84.
Randy Moss.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Just think about 2 or 3 years ago, Joe Burrow had both of these at his disposal in LSU. That's wild.
So check this out. Just I'm having fun with this. So every time we talk about somebody, I pull their stats up. So he had those 2 great games, Baltimore and Kansas City. But the game before that against Denver, my man had 1 point. He had 1 catch for 3 yards. He killed San Francisco with 24. Chargers 10. Pittsburgh 6. Cleveland 8. Cleveland. I mean, anybody throw against Cleveland. The Jets 12. I mean, you got some games where it's kind of like, dang.
Then he had that game before at Baltimore, 8 catches, 201 with a touchdown. So it's like
it's hit or miss.
He is the elite boom or bust. So you have to put him in your lineups.
Yeah,
you have to.
Oh, absolutely. But if you had to pick between him and Cooper Kupp, I mean, Cooper Kupp, that man's just
he's right.
He's always there.
I'm going Kupp as well, and I think because of it's like one of those things. It was like, what have you done for me lately? Type of guys, and I think Jamar Chase's ending to this season will probably ring a little bit more bells than Cooper Kupp, in my opinion. So maybe you can get lucky and snatch Cooper Kupp before everyone's going for Jamar Chase, and you can probably slide and get Cooper Kupp.
And who's just right under like 1 and 1A as far as consistency? Devonte Adams.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like his stock is going to drop just because of the splashy events between Chase and Kupp. So you're probably going to get Devonte Adams at a slight, very slight discount next year.
So we set the bar at 20 for a quarterback. What is it for a receiver?
Like 15.
You know how many games Cooper Kupp had under 15?
Probably none.
1 against Arizona.
One game. And what was that? 14? That was it. What was it?
No, he had 11 that game against Arizona.
11. So he had no games under double digit fantasy game.
No, none, 0.
This dude is phenomenal, and like that's
it was 1 week. It was week 11, which was a bye. Cooper Kupp is that dude, man.
Hey, look up Devonte Adams. I think he's in the same boat here. Like, seriously.
Jesus, cool. Man, you making me feel good, Walter. I got him inside my dynasty league, Jamar. Since you boasting about the power and the speed and elite talent in your dynasty league, hey, I got a little bit too, man. So,
I mean, you are a champ, right?
Yeah, I'm
champ.
I am the champ.
Adams. I mean, he's got a couple below. He got 1, 2, 3. He's got 3 below 15. He's teetered with like a 14 and a 16. You know, we could sway either way, but you know, he also has a 37 against Cincinnati. 31 against San Francisco, 33 against Cleveland. That same defense that Jamar Chase had 9.
So, like, those 3 wide receivers should be 1, 2, 3 off the board.
Yep.
And it's crazy because
you still got
DeAndre Hopkins is probably gonna slide.
Tyreek Hill, man. It's like you still got some fantastic names out there, bro.
Oh yeah.
So you definitely gonna get some really good wide receivers at a discount next year. So, all right. And as far as tight ends, I mean, first tight end drafted in 2022, Travis Kelce.
I don't even need to say it. I'm tired of saying it.
I'm sorry. Best tight end of all time, Travis Kelce per Deshaun.
Thank you.
Okay, so
he's at number 2.
All right, so
actually he's number 3.
Ooh.
You got to go Gronk. I'll take Gronk over him.
Oh,
and then
Mr. Anthony Brown.
There's another one.
And then Mo Alley Cox.
I thought you were gonna say Gonzo, bro. Like, okay.
No, yeah, I'll put Gonzo up there. I love Kelce though, man. Kelce's been great. So draft strategies, a lot of these guys kind of fall into that. So, for instance, you talked about CeeDee Lamb, very versatile receiver. I don't know why Dak didn't give him the ball because you can put CeeDee anywhere on the field and he can be effective. But CeeDee, I guess he had issues with. They have a lot of talent at the receiver position because as soon as Michael Gallup went down, who stepped up? Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson had 100-something yards last night. I have to look at how many receptions.
Two TDs as well.
Yeah, two TDs. I saw one of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you got those vertical targets like that, it's like, oh, yeah, that's that Ferrari again. So when I'm picking receiver, I like the teams where they have like. Your one main guy, and then you got that really good, sidekick. And where do you have that at? Let's go straight to. I want to say the Rams, but they had some like pretty decent guys when you had Robert Woods and then Van Jefferson, and then Cooper Kupp was just that always reliable. You can put him anywhere; he always finds his way open type of guy.
Yeah, I don't know what team would that be. Where it's like the main guy and then a very good sidekick.
Seattle, yeah.
Okay. That's fantastic. Or man, it's looking like you gonna have that right now with Cincinnati because it's like the way that T. Higgins has been playing right now. I don't even think he's a sidekick though. So
another. Well, your sidekick, it's like you got 1A and 1B, and then you got Boyd as well. But another thing you want to look at when drafting a receiver is what's the running game like? Because you got to have that balance. If they know all you're going to do is pass, then yeah.
So let's just say, in a healthy, perfect world, with a more competent quarterback, Tennessee would be a great example of that.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
absolutely.
Or Indianapolis could be a great example of that.
We need another receiver though.
But you need another receiver. You got the running back. Cleveland could be the same way, but they need a whole nother quarterback and another one. But anyway,
no. I love it against Cleveland. I love it, man.
Great. But no, Pittsburgh as well. Was it Johnson and Chase Claypool? Y'all had a better quarterback. I'm sorry, Ben's time has passed. But if you put a Deshaun Watson there,
that'll do
back in the day when you had DeAndre Hopkins and the dude on steroids and what's his name?
Will Fuller.
Will Fuller. I mean, it worked perfectly. So that's what I like. That's what I do when I'm picking receivers. Now quarterbacks, quarterbacks and running backs kind of fall in the same thing. You want to look at the receivers, and also you want to look at who's investing in their offensive line.
Yeah.
So
like Cleveland, they have a great offensive line for the running back. Dallas
don't have a quarterback.
notoriously usually has a great offensive line for the running back. New England, they usually have a good offensive line for the running back. Even though now you can actually pick a running back from Cleveland in years past, you wouldn't touch that backfield because you didn't know who's going to get the ball. Now it's Damian Harris, but I agree. The offensive line plays a major role.
But that's how I stole. I got Nick Chubb a few years ago. Like I was like, okay, Cleveland's like investing to their running back. Like he was dynamic in college. Hey, let me grab Nick Chubb. Guess what? It pays off.
Yeah.
But San Francisco has a pretty good offensive line as well.
Absolutely.
You can dang near grab any running back from out there, and that's why they're so good. And they have blocking receivers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hey.
They actually have a fullback that they use. They utilize in today's age. Like not so many teams have a fullback, and he's an all-pro at it. So,
I mean, he's all pro. I mean, it's like 5 of them in the league.
But he's good, man. He's really good at what he does. As far as quarterbacks and running backs, I can see that because basically you would want a dual threat for both.
Yeah.
And then this day and age in 2022, you want a dual threat quarterback that can run, that has a high floor, and also that can, be accurate down the field and throw it, get you to 200 plus yards, get you a passing touchdown or two, but also can give you like 50 yards on the ground and maybe a touchdown as well, like Kyler Murray when he's really at it, or Lamar Jackson when he's really at it. Running back same way. I want a guy that can give me 100 on the ground, but probably can give me 50 to 75 receiving yards. Alvin Kamara, that's a perfect name that comes to mind. I guess Christian McCaffrey, whenever he, after the hyperbolic time chamber and everything else, then he might be back in the form. Kareem Hunt back in the day. I mean, that was a dude. Kareem Hunt shouldn't have left Kansas City, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, you want dual threats at those positions, and I mean, you spoke it like on the tee as far as wide receiver is concerned. Unless you dominating the ball with that target share, with them being the main guy like a Devonte Adams, or at this point Cooper Kupp, because there used to be a 3 wide receiver offense that could reduce a lot of fantasy value. Now it's just the Cooper Kupp show, or DeAndre Hopkins when he's healthy. I mean, other than that, yeah, you want somebody that can play complementary football. Basically, on offense, you want complementary pieces, man. That's what you want.
Lastly, when picking like a quarterback, another thing I want to point out is like I try to look at like the year before, especially when picking young guys.
Thank you.
Well, especially when picking young guys. That's how I got Justin Herbert. Like Justin Herbert was kind of lighting it up last year and like was like under the radar. And it's, even still today, he's kind of like under the radar. Like he'll ball out some games, but like you look at his numbers, it's like, okay, I don't see any of the rookie quarterbacks from this year really doing that. Not even Mac Jones, just because I think they still kind of have the reins in on him. Possibly Trey Lance, but we have to see what he looks like in the, I'll say preseason, early in the season next year. You might be able to get him if nobody picks him up early.
Just to point to another note here as far as quarterbacks, I'm starting to not, I guess, bother with quarterbacks that has to solely rely on play action to be effective. And that's Baker Mayfield by far.
Baker Mayfield.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
Jimmy G, even though he would never been in my conversation to begin with.
Dude, all fantastic points. Jamar, all of these guys are the same exact quarterback. It's like they need to, they need that run game to be heavy, and they need a running back to, do their thing because they feed off that. You don't want a quarterback that is, solely dependent on play action. And that's why I've been saying it for like the most. Dude, I've been saying it since Baker Mayfield got inside the league. Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback. Now everyone is like, oh, mind you, everyone said, oh man, this is, the Cleveland. Remember when OBJ first got on that team, Jamar, and we had the discussion inside of our sports chat up on Facebook. Yep. Everybody's like, oh man, look out. Like these guys are going to, like, what did they do? Like they didn't do anything because you want to know why? Because of Baker Mayfield. I'm not solely putting it on Baker, but he is 60% of the reason why Cleveland has underachieved over the past couple of years. You bring in another quarterback, man, like I think they're, off at the gates running. Baker Mayfield, he ain't that dude.
Evidence for that, bro, is like when Baker was out that game, they put in Case Keenum, and they were the same team.
Same team.
You actually took the words out of my mouth. From like Case Keenum actually made that offense tick a little bit better.
Yeah.
He's I saw his man. He's a sober Johnny Manziel.
I mean, as funny and as disrespectful as that is, it's also accurate.
I need to get a lot of Spider-Man memes out here because I feel like we could fill it up right now.
Yep. Basically,
man. So yeah, I'm definitely staying away from quarterbacks that's dependent on play action because apparently you're not going to do anything for me. That means I got to rely on you. No matter, I got to rely on the running back to do his job for you to actually be effective and not turn over the ball and actually find somebody downfield. And just maybe you might do play action at the goal line, or more than likely you can give it to the running back and he's going to score. So where are your points going to come from? So we're definitely not going to do that. And I guess, as far as, matter of fact, let me ask you all this. Let's go to tight ends. We haven't talked about tight ends.
Okay.
So, as we know, Travis Kelce is the undisputed champion right now as far as that position. George Kittle has, you can't come back to life this towards the second half of this season. He basically went from your trade bag to was that the league he won for you?
I got to look at that roster. I think so.
So, I mean, George Kittle was on the tear.
Actually, no.
Okay. But still, he probably did win a lot of people fantasy leagues just based on how he was playing. Darren Waller was just the absolute dud because of injury and then COVID.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews has, reasserted himself as elite fantasy tight end this year. I mean, outside of that, do we put Hall of Fame Kyle Pitts in the conversation? Do we put T.J. Hockenson when healthy in that conversation?
No fan.
They need a better quarterback there.
That's it.
Aaron Rodgers.
So Noah Fant finished number 12 right now, as in between week 17. Wait, let me go to PPR real quick. It might be a little bit more of a different ball game.
Yeah,
so
I would say no.
Fant is at 9.
Okay, I would still say no to Noah Fant without a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Check down Teddy's not going to get it done. Locke is not going to get it done. They need somebody else.
So and after you find out where Noah Fant said, hey, look up Mo Alley Cox.
Mo Alley Cox.
30.
Mo was at 30?
30. Finishes fantasy's top 30.
So there was a 30-team fantasy league to make the cut as a starting tight end.
Mo Alley Cox, man. Even Darren Waller finished at 16 and he missed a hell of a lot of games this season.
And because he had the first game of the year, he had like 20 targets and went downhill since.
No, if blocking was a stat, Mo would be top 10.
Okay. Yeah.
I get that.
But no, some notable names up on the list. Kyle Pitts finished in the top 5. So, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen like this week, or even if they count this week with the fantasy stats, considering that, they added a new game to this year's schedule. But Mark Andrews, number 1, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Dalton Schultz making an appearance at number 4. Did not see that one coming. Kyle Pitts rounding out the top 5. Zach Ertz. Wow. And it's crazy to think that Zach Ertz is above Dallas Goedert. How crazy is that?
Hey.
No, it's not. That's okay. We didn't talk about tight ends, but one of the things I think of when I'm picking a tight end is how good are the receivers. All those tight ends you got out there, they have a pretty good passing game when it comes like the receiving core, except for Mark Andrews.
Not the top guy there.
There's only one Jesus Christ, and I tell you what, he plays in Baltimore.
Not Kyle Pitts either.
All right, so
they had some guys he was getting the ball to. I can't remember none of their names, but
Zucchini.
Yeah, him.
Russell Gage. The Swiss Army knife, Cordell Patterson. How about that one?
Oh
Of course,
yeah,
fast.
but he's different. And God, I think we need to come back next week and do like an award segment because he's getting something out of my book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if we got to make it a reward, he's winning.
Yep. He's getting something. So.
Oh man. I say as far as Mark Andrews, he has like the Devonte Adams formula there, where he is the top guy. There's nobody else really. Same way with the Packers. I mean, you got MVS. I get it, Lazard and Cobb, but they're not really relevant like that because of Devonte Adams and his huge target share. Same with Mark Andrews. I know Hollywood Brown at times, he'll have an MVS. I think him and MVS are kind of similar in that regard. But that's the reason why Mark Andrews is the way he is, because he has that huge target share. But other guys, I agree. Travis Kelce, perfect example with Tyreek Hill. I mean, the defense looking at Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce is always open underneath. He will get his. Basically, if you have a tight end that is a pass catching, like a PPR tight end hog, which is kind of rare, but if you got that, and Travis Kelce and Andrews and stuff, like, your team should be relevant every year. You should be in the playoffs every year, health pending. You should be making your way kind of close to the championship game, if not the round before. Like, you should be there every year.
Yep.
Because over the years, me personally, I didn't used to take those elite tight ends because at the time I didn't know how to work it into my draft strategy. Now I do, to where I have to have an elite tight end, especially in deeper leagues, for me to stay relevant. That's how in the 16-teamer league, I mean, I made the championship game both times. I won last year, courtesy to your boy Justin Herbert, because he was balling out. But yeah, as far as tight ends, it's tougher, but I feel like you have to grab an elite tight end in order to be, if you want to stay relevant throughout the whole year. That's my opinion.
Hey, I'm staying away from Darren Waller next year.
Are you really?
Wow. Yeah, just because of injury and age. He'll be 30. That's when you kind of start seeing tight ends kind of. You got your unicorns like Kelce, but it's the injury thing, and he had that long break because it wasn't like drugs or something like that.
Yeah, it was something where I guess he was out the league and then he had to work his way back in. So
Yeah.
I mean, he might be 30, but I think because of that, he still may have an age on his body of like 27, 28.
But it's like Saquon was like 27, 28 too. He's a younger guy, but it's like the injuries. He's starting to have those injuries. He had a couple last year, and now like this whole year has been kind of like, like an injury show.
Oh man, I have sympathy for Saquon because he was like one of my favorite guys coming out. Like I'm a fan of Saquon. He just can't get right.
He might get right with it if he goes to the Bears. Russell Wilson, you guys are back. You guys are the monster of the midway again.
I don't know, man.
I'm just trying to gas somebody up. I'm sorry.
I mean, after today's game or tomorrow morning, when people get fired, then I'll probably be in a better mood. Okay, so anything else with the draft strategies? Anybody?
No,
it's just I think wide receivers are so deep, man. It's you don't. So you guys mentioned, about different draft strategies, but another thing that you got to keep into perspective is that it just depends. Like even if you're working like with like a 12-teamer, 10-teamer, PPR, dual quarterback, single quarterback, it all makes a world of a difference. Like Jamar in our main league, dual quarterbacks, it's like honestly you're gonna kind of have to drop the quarterback kind of earlier than you would like to be your QB1, because by the time you get a chance to get to your QB2, you're stuck with Carson Wentz. Like I set that up on purpose for him. So yeah, and like Jamar, I'm looking at like our draft right now. Like I got it on a piece of paper. Like I do it every year. Like I write it down. And I know it's kind of messy right now. You ain't gonna be able to read it, but it's like I just look over things like how I drafted for like the previous year. Oh yeah, it goes that deep with me for like the main league. The only league I do that with, like I'll write it down and like I'll jot it and take. But make no mistake about it, I thought I was gonna win at the beginning. Like I seriously did. And from the top to bottom, you, Jamar, and Reap were probably the only two guys that I was truly worried about from the jump, just by looking at like the rosters, in the way that you guys have drafted, which was similar to mine. Which I don't know if you guys were just jocking or what were you Look at his face. But no, man, it's just one of those things to where it's depending upon like what like type of league you're in, you're gonna have to adjust accordingly. In my opinion, you can't draft the same for a standard league single quarterback as you can with a dual QB PPR league. So I think some of those things are gonna determine the flow of the draft. So.
All right, the last thing you want to do is end up with a Ben Roethlisberger with 21 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
And he got picked in. He got picked in the 11th round too, man, which is crazy.
Oh, okay. I just want to throw that out there too.
Yeah.
64% completion rate. Oh.
He really just went to the stats on you on that one.
Yeah, you started it.
I did.
Hey man, who knows? Big Ben might be playing in the postseason.
Stop it.
He's not. Hey, you know who actually played more than 2 plays in the postseason this year? Carson Wentz.
You gotta beat the Jags first, man.
Bro, yeah, I'm calling it. I'm gonna go ahead and show a little confidence. Yeah.
I kid you not. If I look up, about midway through the third quarter, and Jacksonville is up 17-6.
I'm grabbing the Henny. I ain't talking to nobody for the next 2 weeks.
Like Jonathan Taylor got 12 rushes for like 25 yards, and Carson Wentz got like 89 yards passing and 2 picks. And Trevor Lawrence out there got like 160 some yards and a touchdown with like 20 yards on the ground
with 3 picks. Because ain't nobody gonna outdo Trevor Lawrence with his interceptions this year. That poor guy. You know what? Look out for Trevor Lawrence next year, depending on what coach and what they do in the offseason. Because Trevor Lawrence got so much potential, man. It was just a crap show down there.
It reminds me of Peyton Manning in his rookie year. It does. So I think it's only up from here with him. So he'll be on my radar a little bit. It depends on what they do in the offseason, what weapons, how they draft, all that good stuff. So, all right, fellas.
Ooh, and Travis Etienne, that's another one. You want to look out and see what they invest in with that offensive line, see what receivers they get, because that could be a back next year that could really jump out.
That's true. So, all right, I think we're done. We're done. So
we're not done.
I know, man. Like, this was one heck of a season. Like I give out 2 awards to both of you all. Like, I couldn't, be here without you all. Like, even though one time I did do the show by myself, but either way, like
he did held it down too. I watched the show.
All by yourself? Where was I at?
I don't know. Sleep? I don't know.
I was at work.
I was probably home.
Probably. But nevertheless, guys, like,
man.
I love y'all. Y'all been awesome. It's been a heck of a ride. I didn't expect it to go like this, but this is 100% positive. There's been no negatives here. So,
no, I agree, Jamar. That like this year, just for fantasy football was a tough one with COVID. Injuries, things of that nature. So shout out to every fantasy manager who made the proper adjustments given the situations and like the climate of the NFL this year. Games being pushed back, and kudos to you for making adjustments. And if you even made it to even sniff the finals, even without winning it, you still got to pat yourself on the back. But to those who took home the title, big shout out to you, because this season it means a lot. I think it means a lot more this season than in years past, considering the way how things have gone, in my opinion. But the chemistry this year, just between us as a trio, has been outstanding. Walter, man, I cannot thank you enough for joining the team, and Jamar, just honestly having the vision to see that things would only go up from that addition. So again, man, you guys have been fantastic. I think we got one more show in us for sure. But just gotta tip your hat to everyone out there who won the title this year. Hats off to you.
Oh, snaps. It's great, man. Hey, I just want to thank both y'all for allowing me to actually come on the show. Like, first time coming on, I was like, oh, man, this is like so cool. And then Dwyer, he was like, hey, man, we want you to like come on permanent. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Actually, I made a little sacrifice. Like I told you guys, I like to hunt and stuff. And I typically would go out and I let my hunting buddies down a lot of weeks because they're like, hey, you coming out? And I'm like, nah, I can't. It was because of this, man. I appreciate all the people that, subscribed and like all the questions and stuff. And like you guys helped me with my fantasy leagues, a whole lot, just kind of giving me like a different perspective, got me looking more in depth and things. Cause I was just winging it. It was like, all right, I like this guy. And I had like my little strategies, but just kind of went from there. But just like kind of listening to you guys, except for that Jeff Wilson thing, I just. You want to talk about boomer bust?
Apparently he hurt us, man, because he went off like.
Yeah, man, that hurt, but it's all right. It's okay.
Hey, you can't win them all, man. Like even the greats out there, whoever make their like the main, even like ESPN, someone like that, or like whoever it is, like no one can be right all the time. Sometimes we just basically what you got to do is sometimes Walter is like wing it, like what you said. Sometimes you just got to go with your gut feeling. Jamar is. Been adamant about that. If it's a tough decision that you got to make, go with your gut. Boy. And sometimes it'll steer you wrong. Sometimes it'll steer you right.
I kid you not, because I mean, the fact that I know I haven't won yet, I got one pending here, but the fact that I was able to even get to the finals against you in the main league by trusting my gut with freaking Huntley to that one day.
Yo.
Dude, that was probably the most clutch thing I've done all year. He put up 35 for me. Or the fact that I even like got to the finals in my 16 team league, like, and my roster was depleted. So I go with your gut. Like at the end of the day, I know you can always listen to us or one of those other famous podcasts, but I mean, when you're really tough and it comes down to it, you go with your gut. Man. That way you have no regrets later.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all been wonderful. We may have one more show, but other than that, like we basically beginning the off season here, so you'll probably hear from us sporadically. Just to say hi, remember us. This happened. We'll let you know. Any major off season news and stuff, fantasy relevancy. We'll probably be throwing something out there.
Like on the page.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I guess 1, 2, 3 Cancun, man. We out. Yeah, out. We might be around for the Super Bowl, maybe, just maybe. We'll see. But nevertheless, Deshaun, one more time, where can they find us?
Man, you can find us basically everywhere where podcasts are found: Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, just basically anywhere. So there's no excuse to not follow me and these two gentlemen right here. Right now we are streaming live on YouTube as well as like Facebook. Definitely make sure you check out the YouTube channel. Come over there, see what we're cooking up. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. All of that. It's from the beginning to the end this year. That has all been fantastic, and honestly, we couldn't do it without you guys. So from us to you guys, we truly appreciate it.
Cool. All right. I normally I would usually say goodbye for everybody, but you all can say your goodbyes, man.
Oh man, it's been a long time coming. Like it has. Jamar, as you know, last year I didn't win not one single title. I think I was in 2 championships and I lost them both. And they were honestly embarrassing. And I'm glad of the way that I fought back from this year. Got a chance to, play in multiple championship games and win multiple titles this year. So it makes me feel pretty good. And I think that's number 5 for like the main league, Jamar, if my calculations are correct. So yeah, I'm trying to, stack up that infinity gauntlet. And yeah, I mean, I think we need to just change that name to like my league or something like that. It's just like that's how it's.
I'm about to boot you.
No, it's like that's been like fun. That main league is I think more goes into that league than any other league that I have because I know each and every one of those guys. individually, all good guys, all good competitors. I got some family in there. You know what I mean? So like that just makes me want to game plan that much harder. So man, I can't believe that this thing is almost over. I'm definitely looking forward to next week, man. And man, I feel like Big Ben out here saying my goodbyes at Heinz Field. The tears are coming down. Like, you know, production team, go ahead and just cue some artificial tears in there. You know what I mean? So no, it's been truly a ride, and it's been everything that we could possibly hope for 2021. 2022 is going to be that much greater. So just keep rocking with us.
Okay. All right. I'll say ditto. Like I said, appreciate everybody, you know, all the subscribers and stuff. You guys, it's been fun. I'm gonna keep it short, like the late great Kobe Bryant, and Mamba out.
Mamba out.
Yeah.
And last but not least, you know, thank all of you for, you know, supporting, liking, sharing, you know, joining us every week. Like we have regulars that usually come on every week. I think last week's comment with Darcy, like, you know, that hit home, that like somebody rocking with us, just hearing us talk about fantasy, laughing, having a good time after the 4 out of 4 championship games. And I'm hoping Darcy, you know, took home something on that one. So, but nevertheless, like, until next time, peace out. Good luck. Deuces.